let's talk about portals, shall we? I literally had to close some portals this morning in my house. I almost should have left them open so that you guys could see how I found them, but my kid was ragey. So here's the thing about portals. They are like an energy leak, this constant siphon of energy pulling on us. So this is where sometimes we'll find we're struggling to sleep. Because we do tend to open portals in our sleep, we astral travel a lot because of that sleep state. We're allowed to kind of move around more freely. So we tend to open portals, but we also have many different contracts and ways that we open these portals. Other people or open them, different vibrations. It depends what's going on. And so I'm not going to go too deep into the who's and the what's and the where's, as much as letting you guys know that they are a thing. We do feel them. We usually tend to see them in the bedrooms with old furniture. Like I'll find when I do house clearings, when I stop on some older stuff, that's where I find portals, and they usually come from thrift shops, stuff like that. Religious ties, so things that have those religious ties will usually open portals. Not usually, but sometimes. And so again, when we open them in our sleep. So it's kind of one of those things where we don't need to necessarily know as much about them to start. Right now, I really just want you guys to know that they exist, and I want you to learn how to find them and how to close them. And we're just going to learn like very basic about it right now, and later in the future we can go into another format of going much deeper into the whys and what's connected to them, and if there's anything tied that we can stop. So when I do the description, I'm going to talk kind of about reminding you guys that you are powerful enough to do this kind of stuff. You're capable of doing it. But also talking about, sometimes we're going to have that same portal open over and over and over again. And I want you guys to still close it anyways, right? And if we find a portal opening in the same spot over and over again, this is where I would suggest contacting me and booking a house clearing. I can do them online and in person. And so it's not necessary. You can find people around you as well that can do this work if they're in tune with the portals and stuff like that. So I do have some resources as well to get you in contact with anybody that you require. So don't panic, right? You're still gonna be a boss and close that portal, and we're gonna just work with what we have for now. So if we can get to a place where we're closing these energy fields down, especially after learning how to clear those emotions in the body, clearing the fields, clearing the house, this is the next thing that's really going to help make the house feel better. So, this morning, like I said, my son had a portal open in his room, or he was ragey this morning. I didn't tell you that there was one in his room, but there was one in his room, there was one in my room. And so when I woke up and he was in his mood, I just grabbed my pendulum and I was like, all right, let's just check in. And so I, closed up the portals that were in the bedrooms. Then I went and I just walked through the whole house with my pendulum, like I showed you guys, clearing that energy, and then just creating a bigger grid system and working on his emotions. And so we just use all of these tools, and it helps shift that energy to a place of consistency, so that when we have those disruptions show up, we know what they are and what they mean. So how do we find the portals? What do we do with them? All these things. Let's talk about that now. So the first thing I always do is I'm like, okay, truth, is there a portal opened up in here? So we're going to get our yes and we're not going to get our no. So mine's showing no. So we're like, good job, Charlotte. now we're going to ask. Now this is where you can actually use that dowsing board. So there was many dowsing boards that I put in the beginning of the course somewhere, and we can use that if you would like. I have mine, so my emotional wheel also has this like number here, so I can use that, but usually I don't have this board with me all the time. So I'm just like, okay, truth, is there 1 portal in here? Is there 2? Is there 3? So I just ask the next number until it says no. So then I go back to that last number. Okay, was it 3? Yes. Okay. So then I know that I have 3 portals throughout my house. So this gives me an idea of how many I have to clear so that I know where I'm going. Now, sometimes we find lots of portals in the house, 6, 7. I have seen 10, but that was a lot. I seen 10 in a hotel room, just one fucking room. That was the craziest hotel stay I've ever had in my life. It was crazy. And so these portals create that crazy energy, right? Think about what a portal is. It's like that vortex, right? And it's allowing energy to flow in and out of the space. And so if we have these open, now say you have 10 energies pulling in and out of a space, right? Create 10 of those in a small hotel room. And imagine how much energy that's going to create. So you know all that noise that you sometimes hear, it's almost like when that scratchy TV screen was on when there was no cable or whatever, and it was all scratchy. This will be for like us older people with the regular TVs back in the day. It's almost like that energy, right? So it's like this, you can feel it even when I'm moving my hands, because I'm creating this chaos, kind of showing you how that energy would move. And so if we have these portals open while we're trying to sleep, and we just got that constant like wah energy, like I don't know how to make the sound because it's not really a sound, right? And that's the thing. So it feels like it's loud in the house, yet there's no noise. It could be dead silent, but it feels like there's this echoey when we're in like that big room of people, and there's so much noise that it's creating this weird vibration. Same kind of thing. And so if we have many, we're just going to have a lot of energy moving, right? So this is where I'm like, look, if we can just learn how to close these, even if they keep opening because we have some kind of contract that we can't go deeper into, but you have resources that can help you do that, then you can actually start shifting that energy to make it better for a while, right? So this portal opening up today, it's like we close it down and we move the emotions, we move the energy in the house, and just try to like contain that energy. When there's a lot of energy stirring up in the earth plane and there's some interferences happening, it happens. It's when I'm like clearing my throat and stuff. We have stuff coming in trying to interfere with this lesson. So there's a lot of reasons that they're going to just show up. And so it's not always about you. Sometimes it's just collectively happening. And so it's important to just find it. So I can keep talking about this forever. So I'm going to like pull it back a bit. I want to not make this video too long so that you can watch it all at once. But I also want you to have enough information so that you're not stressing out about it as much, okay? Because if we have kids struggling to sleep and stuff like this could be part of the problem, and you will now have this resource right in your hand to clear it and get it that little bit lesser of that intense energy, right? So knowing about these things now helps you understand some of the things that you're experiencing, and knowing that there's a way to help that problem is so beneficial. So we found our 3 portals. Why 3? I don't know. It's interesting. It's an interesting number, right? So we found our 3 portals. So the first thing I do is like, I'm in right now my little office dining room space. And so I would be like, okay, truth, is there any portals in this space, right? So we want to break each room down. So we just start with the one we're in. So if we get a yes, then we're gonna go deeper. If we get a no, we're just gonna move to the next room that's right beside us, right? So if I'm just asking for this little space, I'm gonna be like, okay, what about my living room? What about my kitchen? So I'm gonna truth test each one, right? This is why we have all those tools through the course, so that we have all the ways to work through this system. So we're gonna find the room that has the first portal that we're in. Now I'm gonna ask, okay, truth, is it in this corner that I'm standing in? Like this kind of area. So I'm gonna just sense an area. I don't know, I guess that's kind of how I do it. Okay, is it in this left corner? Is it in the right corner? We're narrowing down where it goes, because I'm gonna show you a portal's only gonna spin about this big on your pendulum. So we're not in a huge energy where like we're hitting like, oh, there's the portal, right? Like that's not a thing. So when we're going, if we're taking our pendulum and we're walking through the house to find this portal, it's going to take forever to find something that spins about this big, right? Some will spin a little bit faster if they've been there for a little bit longer. That's kind of what I've found while I'm clearing people's houses, is there's some that have just been sitting there for like 100 years, just like lingering, and they're kind of spinning a little bit quicker, right? So you might hit one a little bit faster, but it's not going to be huge, right? So we're going to narrow down kind of an area. So in the bedrooms, when we're finding those a lot, okay, truth, is it on my side of the bed or that side of the bed, their side of the bed, right? We're gonna go and just walk up and down. Oh, you can't see me over there. We're just gonna walk up and down the bed like this, okay? So say the bed is where we're going, because it's the easiest way to explain this. I just walk up and down until like, and I kind of feel it. So sometimes the pendulum actually almost starts like pulling, like it's like, oh, a little bit this way. Then all of a sudden it's like, boom, there it hits. So we're gonna take time. And this is something, once you start practicing, you kind of just know. So when I go to people's houses, I can kind of almost feel that energy a lot of the times. And I just go straight to that area and boom, I find it pretty quickly. And so as you start working with it, you can almost kind of feel that energy pulling you in whichever direction that portal is. So we're going to go and we're going to find that portal. Okay, so here we are with our circular portal, and it looks like it's going counterclockwise, but it's going clockwise here on my side of the screen. So I just remember that, right? I'm remembering that it's spinning this clockwise direction. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to ask if there's anything anchoring the portal open. So almost like locking it in place, just like an energetic gremlin. I don't know how to explain that really without making it sound uncomfortable, but it's really just like an energetic frequency holding this open. You don't always find this, but it is something that we can check, because if there is something anchoring it open, you're gonna have a harder time closing it. So then you're gonna keep popping back in that portal and it's still gonna be spinning after you've closed it, and you're gonna get frustrated. So I always ask if there's anything anchoring it open first. And then I ask if there's anything corded to somebody in the house. So if we're on a bed, is it corded to said person that is sleeping on that bed normally, on that side of the bed? If yes, then we're just going to set that intention. We're going to take that hand energy, right? And we're just going to call forth wherever that cord is sitting in that body. And we're going to allow it to just come all the way back in. So the cords will usually wrap around the body a lot. They don't usually just like plug in. They're kind of something where they come in at one spot and then they kind of like start wrapping around. So when I pull a cord, I kind of just like set that intention of lighting up that spot where it's plugged in, and then I just like suck it into itself. So I just kind of ask that cord to like unwind and almost like push back into itself all the way back to that original point, and then I pull it out. So what I would do is I would just pull that energy out of that person or yourself, right? So if it's self, right, we're pulling it out of self. And we're gonna just like let that go and send it through that portal before we close it. So if there's something anchoring it before we close it, after we get this cord out, we're just gonna fire any entity that is holding that open. So that's really what you're gonna do. Like, you're fired, get out, and sending it through that portal as well. So it's just intention. This is a huge thing. Remember when I talked at the beginning of the pendulum course, when I would go to these crystal stores and I'd be like, okay, pendulum, let's do this. And it would just sit there and be like, nothing, right? If I don't believe I can work a pendulum, my pendulum will not work. If I don't believe I can close a portal, that portal will not close, because it's all about intention. And of course the kitty's gonna show up eventually. I figured he might show up. So we have to believe in ourselves. So you're fired. And send that energy through that portal, okay? So then what we do is I always use my hands, especially at the beginning. Now I'm kind of more like pushing things out a lot differently because it's just changing, right? I'm evolving. But when I first started, I would actually take my hands and I would swing that portal. So I would actually create that fast motion. So what you want to do is create chaos in that energy frequency. So we're going to spin that portal the same way it was going already, like much faster, just creating that chaos. Then we're going to spin it backwards right after and up and out and sending it back to where it came from. So this is all intention, right? We're going to find our portal, narrowing it all down. We're going to spin it faster, spin it backwards, send it out. That quick, okay? So this is something that you can practice right after this video. I want you to get truth testing. Okay, truth, do we have portals in this house? Yes, okay, how many? And I want you to sit with that energy. Don't get overwhelmed if there's quite a few. Here's the thing. Again, I'm like one of those like slower learners in a sense. Like, I'm always evolving and growing, but I tend to like almost self-sabotage a little before I learn. And then I realized that the thing that I was like avoiding and putting off is so much easier than what I made it seem. And so I had, I think it was maybe five portals in this teeny tiny cabin I was living in when I first started learning about this stuff. And I knew there was 5 portals, and I sat there for probably 2 or 3 days. Man, it might have even been 5, I'm not gonna lie. 5 days knowing them portals were there, because I thought that it was gonna be like such a big thing to like go and find this portal and close it, and is it actually gonna close, and all these things. Because my teacher that I was learning from at the time kind of made everything seem like so much harder or something. And so then I also kind of reinstilled that, like, this is definitely gonna be hard. I should definitely be scared of this. And so when I really sat there and did it, and one day I just got sick of the energy and I woke up and I was like, fuck this. I got up, I found the first portal, I closed it, I did all the steps that I was told to do, and it was done. So I find the next one, and then I went and I got all of them done, and it took me about 15 minutes, maybe not even 10 minutes maybe. It was so quick. It was like I found them all, closed them all within minutes, and I sat down and I was like, I just sat in this energy for 5 days and I didn't need to, right? And that's the thing. So then that next day when I woke up and I checked for portals and there was like 2 in the house or something, video games will bring them in, TV, we're watching news, like whatever we're watching on TV will bring them in. I find them in front of TVs a lot. And video games. My son's video game system always had one depending on what he was doing. So he'd be getting ragey at the TV, screaming, and I'd go and pop my pendulum right over his thing, and sure enough, it'd be spinning, and he'd get all mad when I'm closing that portal, but 5 minutes later, he was just playing video games normally again. You know, like normally, like frustrated, but not raging, like wanting to like smash my TV. So it shifts the energy so quickly, and it takes seconds once you start finding how to find them, right? You'll see they consistently kind of come in similar places and stuff like this. And so don't procrastinate it. If there is some, don't overwhelm yourself. If there's a lot, you know, it's not a huge deal. You've got this. Maybe you can't do them all at once because it's overwhelming. I want you to go close one. Okay, so, one more thing. I get rambly. I don't have any program here. I'm not sitting here thinking about what I was talking about. So, you know, we just go with the flow here. So, when we have closed the portal, afterwards, we truth test. Okay, truth. Did I close the portal properly? So we're going to get our yes and our no. And then I always like to actually put the pendulum back in the same spot that it was to see if it starts swinging. So you'll know because you can pull your pendulum in and out, and it'll just kind of start swinging every time you go in, and then it'll just kind of stop. And then you go back in and it just starts swinging that little bit. And so we're just going to truth test. Okay, truth, did I close the portal properly? Check in that spot that it was in. Okay, so those are the steps. So maybe I'll just go over them one more time quickly from the beginning without talking about anything so that they're all right here at the end because I'm a talker. So we're going to start by truth testing each portal, how many portals there is. Okay, so truth, do I have any portals open in the house? Yes or no? Okay, truth, is there 1? Is there 2? Is there 3? We're going to keep asking until we get a no. So say we get 4 no. Okay, truth, is there 3 in here? Yes, okay. Then we're going to go through each room. Truth, is our portal in here? We're going to find which corner, which side of the room it's on, whether it's above a bed, sink, whatever. So then we're going to take our pendulum, walking nice and slowly through each kind of layer, watching if it's kind of pulling in a certain direction and waiting for it to spin either clockwise or counterclockwise. Again, it's not going to be very big, so you're just going to find that small spot. That's why we're narrowing it down. We are then going to ask truth, is there anything anchoring this portal open? And is there anything corded to this portal? Anyone corded to the portal? We are then going to pull the cord if there is one, right? Calling it all back to self and into the portal. Firing any entity that is in there, holding it open, sending it through the portal. We are going to spin that portal faster than it was already going in the same direction, spinning it backwards and sending it back home. Then we're going to put our pendulum back in where the portal was to see if it stops moving. Truth test whether or not we've closed it properly. Then we're going to go and clear our house. So then we're going to go and clear that space that we just did, right? Like we learned, pulling all of that energy out of the house. My house needs a clearing. We've been working on the energy here for a few days now. So we're going to pull all that energy out just to clear that space, anything that's been lingering. Then we're going to put that good energy back in. We're going to move on to the next room until we get all those portals closed. Okay, so that should answer most of your questions, minus all the deep questions you want, like all the stuff that I didn't talk about when it comes to the portals and who's opening them and why and what's attached to it. But let's get good at finding this energy and knowing when that leak is here, because by the time that you become a champ at this, you'll be ready to go to that next level so that we can start actually pulling cords and contracts with the house and anything else that's tied to these portals that have them coming back and all these things. And then in no time, you'll be clearing everybody's spaces. So this is a good goal. So I will leave you guys there. I'm so glad that you came with me through this course, and we're learning so much and growing through this energy experience. So you did amazing, and I will chat with you all soon. Take care.